Hello, beautiful people, techies and non-techies. We are the latest podcast ever. As you know, the Don't Be Afraid podcast, and I am your host, Jamila Oiza Muhammad Jamiu. And I have with me...
Tolu Onilere.
And we have... You're going to say something?
No. I was just going to say, as usual.
As usual. Yeah. And we have a Texas in the house.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nonye Anyanwu.
Welcome. I think we have Shaker. Would have done blown Shaker for you. Woo! But it's so lovely to have you. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing okay.
How's your journey here?
Not too bad. I think the roads have been a bit freer.
Oh, why wouldn't it be free? Why wouldn't it be free?
Well,
so how was it for you coming here?
Not bad. The same thing. What would you call it? It's
Same for me
clear,
too.
Exactly.
And I can notice that I'm the only one that kept to the Barbie theme. I kept to the Barbie theme. You put. There was an outfit theme.
They didn't realize Barbie's within. It's a state of mind.
It has to come out.
It's a state of mind.
It has to come out.
It's within. You don't know what I'm going on under this. So
oh God.
Yes, I'll reveal it later.
Oh, okay, all right. So basically, just today's topic is going to be women in tech, and we have Nonye here to run us through how that has been. But before that, I'd like to give you guys a short biography of who Nonye is. Nonye Anyanwu is an information security governance, risk and compliance professional with a background in cybersecurity. She has extensive experience in enhancing security, managing risk and ensuring compliance for organizations across Africa. And currently she serves an IT compliance officer at a fintech company.
Okay, cute.
Yeah. So how did you get to where you are right now?
Honestly, I would love to say that maybe there was a moment I had like a sort of like a light bulb moment, but that wasn't it really. It's just always been there. Right from when I was little, like I've always been like a now it's tech, but in those days it was computer. I've always been interested in computers and things like that. So when it was time for me to pick my discipline, then I was like anything computer really, and then from there we landed here. And
you went. There's this perception that families tend to steer women away from that. Were you encouraged? Or did you experience that? Were you aware of that as you were that age, or was it just simply, like whatever it is you like, your parents were very much and your environment was?
I think in those days, what we're seen as the lucrative careers were the doctors and the lawyers, and but I think for me it was a case of they had seen it throughout time that this girl is really interested in this particular field. So when that time came, it wasn't really a case for discussion. So it was just a case of, okay, if this is what you're interested in, then, we can go ahead. And obviously they're still like, try and, find the lucrativeness in here. But there wasn't much pushback.
Okay. Seeing as you've come, how long have you been in tech, really?
This is a very nice question. Because it's hard to calculate, but technically it would be about 4 years.
And you studied what in school?
Tech science.
Is that is an actual degree?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay, sorry. No, because I'm sure there were the grey hairs and stuff. It's a real interesting for me. Is just that thing of how careers or degrees have changed over time.
Yes.
I was never techie, and I studied law, so I'm not gonna claim that they didn't have that when I was coming through, but it sort of like sounds sort of like as if that is changing and the what do you call it? But why do you choose cybersecurity? Because I was thinking computer science is what everyone says. I did computer science. That was very specific. Was there a particular?
Okay, so this is just a fun fact. To show you how new, or at least the concept is. Then when I was in school, I would tell people, what else course are you studying? I'm like, cyber security, and they'll go, you want to work in a cyber cafe?
Yeah.
So that was the thought process. But yes, your question is very valid because then the course was very new. I think we're like the 4th or 5th set of graduates they had. So it was very new. It wasn't even in the handbook that they had. So what they did was I actually applied for computer science as a course. But I think when they had like the post-UTME exam at the university, so you just picked, I think, like the upper, like people that scored like maybe higher percent are when then allocated cybersecurity.
So sorry. So you're telling us you're one of the smart ones. Okay, yes, no problem. We get the message. Yeah.
I think people are usually when you want to identify a tech sis, a tech bro, they're always with the glasses. Well,
no,
yours is missing.
I'm debunking sexist myths.
Okay,
you can look good and be a sexist. You can, there's no uniform. Even though a lot of people think there is, but
yeah, no, because I mean, sorry, that's another thing of that perception of grungy T-shirts, that yes, and stuff like that, and not have your bath and glasses and all that, and all that. So how did you? I mean, like, was that? Sounds a very sexist question, but sorry, that's what we want to talk about. Yeah. How do you how do you deal with that pressure? Is there that pressure because it's still a very male is it still a very male dominated thing?
Definitely, especially in this country. Yes, it's still very male dominated. Although yes, I know that they are a lot of are putting things in place to ensure that there's some sort of balance, but at the moment, yes, it's still very much male dominated. There's so many stereotypes regards to women in tech. Goes from both like physical and in terms of mental as well. This was only a discourse I saw on social media a few months ago as to how, and this is very recent, to show you that it's not old, it hasn't gone by. Someone came and said that that women shouldn't really code. Yeah, I'm shocked, but that's what he said, that women shouldn't code. That is such a brain tasking thing. Like, how do you expect to raise a family and then go into tech? Like,
and then they have fish brains, so they shouldn't code. We have fish brains.
Yes, and someone was quick to remind him, like, because we always forget, like, the first programmer was actually a woman, on Earth.
Educate me. Sorry, you can see.
Yes,
this is tell me about
Lovelace was the first man that wrote code.
Okay.
Ever, yes, but somehow information like that is always
it's always
pushed to the side because it doesn't suit the narrative that we have that is mostly male dominated.
The conquerors,
yes, and also I think another myth that we have to debunk is for you to be in tech you have to know how to code. That's very yes, it's a very big myth. Trust me.
So please explain to us, what is your role? What do you do within cybersecurity?
So for cybersecurity, what I do mostly is just to ensure that organizational policies and procedure align with IT standards and regulations. So it's from a governance area. We look at it from from the top.
You speak in English, please. People break it down.
Okay,
break it down.
To the layman.
Yeah,
break it down.
Write down.
So essentially, what I do is to ensure that everything you do with regards to technology aligns with standards and regulations that have been set down. So those standards may be in terms of business related standards for the service that you're providing, or regulations in terms of like the country and laws and regulations. So just ensure that your processes, your services and everything you're providing, you're doing it in accordance with.
Okay. Are there laws? I mean, is there a big thing? Because I mean, we struggle as Nigeria with that idea of Yahoo Boys and 419 and stuff. Is there a strong cyber security protocol in country, or is that why there's that perception? Is there? I mean, do we?
Yeah. So presently, it's something where it's so far like it's been a progression, but it's not been it's been very slow, right? But just recently, the data protection was signed into bill as an act. So that's just taking us one step closer to where we are supposed to be in terms of like cybersecurity and information security as a country. But yes, apart from the Nigerian specific laws, we also have like international laws that we have to also align with, because especially like, for example, organizations that deal with data, most of the data are not just specific within the country. So you also have to align with laws that are outside your country as well, or that are international, because data moves beyond the geographical sphere.
So seeing as you've been long in this field, what are the common biases people as women face in the tech space?
So I think one I would say I experience a lot is when you're new to like an environment, especially it's more male dominated. People always want to sort of test you. You know, like it's like a microaggression. Sometimes you won't even notice it. Like,
do you mind sharing experiences you've had?
Yes. So sometimes you'll be in a news and people want to be like, oh, what code language do you know? Or what, you know, what have you done? Or they just want to like sort of like measure you up and like, oh, does she really know what she's doing? You know, is she new? Is she, you know, so it's one of those biases that is like, it's done very subtly, but it's something you pick up on as a woman, you know, because obviously your male counterparts, that's not the first question they're going to ask them.
Yeah.
There's just the assumption that if they are here, they know what they're doing. But for women, you have to sort of prove yourself to them, you know, in a way. So I think that's one of them. And the second one as well is appearance. It's sad, but it's true. You know, we know how you say pretty privilege.
Yeah.
So it works to your advantage then?
Well, sometimes, but it's there. You know, people always want to come up with like savior complex of, oh, let me help you with this and let me help you with that. Like, I know what I'm doing, thank you.
But it won't be bad to accept help.
Oh yes, if it's needed.
Right.
You know,
how do you personally overcome those biases when they happen to you?
So what I do, at least for me personally, how I go about it is, I acknowledge it like in front of everyone, like this is what you're trying to do, and this is why I think, you know, even though your intentions may be good, but it's not necessarily the best way to address something. Yeah, it's seen as teaching, but I think we can't teach everyone, but at least whatever change we can effect in our close circle, I think it helps. So usually I just address it in front of everyone, because most times when it comes softly, like people just want to just, you know, push it on that carpet and like, oh,
let it go, let it go.
Yeah, like this is one of those things. Like, and I'm like, it's not going to change if everyone keeps on pushing it as, you know, all the things. Like someone can say no, like, you know. And I always say, I'm like, there was a time where killing twins was legal.
Yeah.
And, you know, people were very much up to it until someone stood up and said, no, this shouldn't happen. So just because it is status quo doesn't mean it's right.
So would you, which sounds weird because you're already in that career, would you advise that as a career for
other women?
For other,
definitely. Especially, I think it has to come from passion though. Money shouldn't, especially now, people look at it as like dollar signs.
Oh yeah, money. Yeah, oh yeah, money. Like, you not go.
I see so many on social media like, oh, like this is like the trending, you know, skill now. Yeah. So like everyone is rushing there. It's like, okay, we're doing data analysis now. Like everyone should go here. Like everyone should go. No, you know, yes, it's lucrative, but it's also something you have to have like passion for. You know, it's something you should be interested in, something you should be curious about. You shouldn't just do it just because it's the in thing now. Or you get so, because most people in tech, that's what, you know, their motivation was.
The money.
Yes.
Yes. And I mean, they're still there now, right?
So the money, but you can't go that far.
With the money.
Yeah, you can't go that far because your work would eventually speak for itself, right? And if it's work you're not passionate about, it's going to show.
So do you code? I mean, you was talking about, do you code? You talked about,
This is going to come as a shock, no.
Okay. No, because it's a really interesting thing of understanding that, as you say, everyone perceives that because it's computer science, that is it, there's code in it.
Yes, but that you have to learn how to code. And,
that there's very different.
To debunk the myths, even the so-called coders, 90% of them is copy and paste.
Okay.
No, it's
oh my god,
it's what it is. Like,
but it's
from
open.
outside it may look like, oh, is this cool? Like you're writing 1,000. Nobody's sitting down to write 1,000 lines of code. Yeah,
but because they say, why invent? I mean, don't reinvent the wheel. If something's works somewhere else, and everything's now coming open source and
there's so many
collaborative,
open source,
and,
exactly. So, you know, the myth is so like, oh, you're sitting down, you're coding over like 10 hours, and it's like, no, the whole point of technology is to make your life easier, right?
So tell me what's an average day for you in the office? What's an average day? As in, what would you do?
A regular day in my office is, because my work deals with a lot of people. So it's just reaching out to people, ensuring that they're compliant with their work. There's also a bit of technical work with regards to generating reports for our different assets, for servers, for our machines, and stuff like that. So I don't have a typical day where like I don't do repetitive things. Yeah. So it's just whatever the day comes with is what I.
How do you get people to adhere to those or to be careful?
That's where the work is.
Yeah.
So it can be demanding because dealing with people, you're dealing with different kinds of people, how human beings are. So let me just pivot a bit. Like my first job, I remember when we were having induction. During the induction, what the HR person gave us was he was like, oh, go and read this book, Emotional Intelligence. And in my mind, I'm like, like I came here to learn consulting. Why do I need to learn like
emotional intelligence?
Like that was the induction.
Yeah.
Like emotional intelligence. Like I was like, nah. But like 2 months down the line,
they didn't tell you.
I read the book because I'm like, oh, okay. I get it. So the people side of the job can be very demanding, and also you have to have the knowledge. Because if I'm meeting, for example, a database person, they always want like, oh, what do you know? You guess that you can't come and police me on what to do if you don't even know what I do.
Yeah.
So you also have to have background knowledge of how these things run. Yeah, to be able to meet them like, oh, okay, this is how these things run, but this is in terms of like best practice. This is how I'm supposed to go about it. Okay. So you also have to like people skills and technical skills. They are both equally important.
So as a cybersecurity person, what do you do in your own personal life? As in, how do you guide and guard? Because I mean, look, you're getting this call from this scam. You're getting that email about that scam and so that. You have these links and all that kind of stuff. What do you do personally? I mean, how do you? What have you learned that you carry through to your personal life?
Yeah. So
tell us tips.
Yes, tips. I think in our personal lives, and this applies to everyone because it's not just for someone in the tech field or anything. But the first thing you should do is also information is key, right? So especially social media, you shouldn't be mindful of the type of information you post out there. You shouldn't be like, it may like individually they don't look like anything, but someone that is looking for something can piece all those information together, right? So from your Twitter, I can know where you live. I can know your workplace. So all it just takes is maybe one LinkedIn search, and then I can, reach out to your boss. Yes, but like it doesn't, because sometimes like, oh, who is coming for me? But you also have to be careful, like giving out information of like, you see some people like, oh, like they jogged this lane, they tell you where they go every morning, where they are at that exact time. So even posting where you are at the exact time, especially as a woman, it's very dangerous.
Risky something.
It's very risky, yes, exactly. So maybe you can post after, but be very careful as the information you put out there.
About yourself,
about yourself,
your job,
your family, your job. You can be the reason that your company is hacked tomorrow. No, so because the first step in hacking is what we call reconnaissance, and reconnaissance is like trying to get information, free information that anyone can access.
Yeah.
So they don't just go and start hacking. Companies. Like it starts from the people at the company. So they can get through to you as an employee. They've gotten to your company because no matter how good a hacker is, they need an in, right? To whatever it is they're hacking.
Yeah.
So you can be that thing.
I remember listening to somebody was telling me about I was at some conference or whatever, and they're talking about, and this was military kind of level, and talking about two countries neighboring or not warring, but not friendly countries, and one country's military wanted to find out and obviously hack, and what they did was they knew that the other countries generals were meeting for some sort of conference, and so they sent an email out to all the generals saying something about, oh, here is the pay list of everybody, and one of them obviously clicks on that, and that's how they got the virus into the thing, and that's how they started tracking it, and it spreads. And it's that sort of like, as you said, human behavior, that they can't get in there unless there's an in.
So like you said, you also mentioned, I want to just assume that everyone should know this, but let's just put it out there. Don't click on links, from foreign parties that you're not aware of. So if you see an email, look at it carefully before clicking.
But how do you do that with your parents?
With my so that's
because it's such
yes, that's actually very valid.
Yeah, it's such a big thing because it's like
our parents are very
us young people. We know and stuff. But how do you do it? What?
So I think it's just to explain to them in their language, right? So parents now can be like, oh, if you click this link, somebody can access your pension account.
Okay.
No, it's you get so like tied to something that's they
really care about
value for them. So not just like they'll hack you. No, like explain to them that this pension that you've been saving for years, can become very vulnerable because you clicked one story link for WhatsApp. So you should just be careful. Like if you're not sure, call and say, oh, like if someone sends you a message, and I'm just saying, like if you want to address like older generation, like if this person sends you a message, you can call that person and get like more information, right? Oh, the message you sent me, what's it about? Before going ahead to click it. So that's just one way I think we can address it for parents.
Because even I mean, even with young people, one of the things I find with for example with the banks is they claim don't share your thing or don't share this, and they'll tell you they only call with one number, but then I can tell you how many different numbers I've been called with that are actually they are my bank. Yes. They are different people within my bank calling me. And it's like, well, listen,
it's not in line with what you're saying.
It's not, and stuff, and so it's a real challenge. Yeah. I mean, is within because everyone's now becoming a lot more data conscious.
Yes.
Is that do you worry about your data, or do you think? Because I believe it's hype. I'm sorry. I believe there's a need for data privacy, but I think there's a lot. I think, and this is conspiracy theory kind of time. I think that it was a lot of hype to try and use to regulate and to regulate the platforms that were getting too strong, and that was the big thing around that sort of fear mongering. So I think that look, as you walk down the streets, your data's out there. Yeah. People, you make a phone call, so your data's out there. Yeah. So I personally, I mean, like I'm careful. I mean, certain areas, and but I'm also quite relaxed about it. They're saying, look, my data's out there. It's going to be. But I mean, my personality is I'm unsocial, but I'm more of a consumer than a creator. Yeah. So so I really don't have that much, but my location's on my phone.
Too can be,
Oh yeah. Oh goodness. No. I mean, like I know. I'm always amazed. I mean that I'll get phone calls
exactly,
and it's from people, and I'm thinking, okay, how did you how did you get that number? And I know that my number's in so many different places, and I just can't track it. I just cannot track it and stuff. So I'm conscious of that. Sorry, I'm conscious of that. But like, I mean, do you care? Are you careful about it? Are you worried about your data?
Yeah, the thing is, in my own cases, I'm very paranoid. So it's inbuilt.
Okay.
Just like I'm very, very, very careful. Like even with like my SIM now is locked. So even if in the situation that someone would have access to my phone. No,
that's sorry, please explain that, because that's such a big thing. Because a friend of mine, that happened to him recently. He was, and it was scary. He was at home. They stole his phone off his bed while he was sleeping.
Wow.
Yeah, and he cannot, he woke up he says he woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning to do, and he was, that thing, you have your phone, you reached over to something, woke up again at 5, phone, and he thought it was, and he couldn't find his phone.
Wow.
And they'd cut through the net and reached in.
And took it. Wow.
Yeah, and took the phone. So so it's a thing that I don't think people understand. So please explain it. What do you mean? Why do you need? Because my phone is locked.
Yeah. So is in I call our culture God forbid culture, because we're like, it will never happen. No, but like nobody wants it to happen. But it's in the events, because it doesn't take anything out of you to just take that extra step, right? So in this case, me locking my SIM is once I turn on my phone, the first thing it asks for is my SIM PIN. Not the phone pin now.
Oh, okay,
yes.
The SIM pin.
Yes.
So that means that what? So in other words, if someone takes your phone, let's say you would lose your phone, someone gets the phone because it's locked.
Yes.
If they take out the SIM and the SIM is not locked, they can put it into anywhere else and start using it.
No, if they put it in another phone, you can't use the SIM because it's locked.
Okay, but if it's not locked, they can.
Yes, but in that case, that's what I say is an extra measure, right?
Okay.
So in this, because the thing about security is you're not just doing one thing. You're having it's like having different
steps.
doors. Yeah. So like this is just like one additional step as well to just make sure obviously your phone should be locked. You should have maybe
why
4.
though? My phone is not locked.
Okay, so this is not even. And why I listen is that sometimes the perpetrator is not even someone someone far. It can be your friend, right? So if you drop your phone now, I can just take your phone and just search something quickly and I see what I want to see. That's that's security as well. So it doesn't have to be like someone stealing your phone. There's so many different scenarios where your information is
Yeah, no, my phone's locked. I was married, so mine is. I know friends of mine who. I know friends of mine.
Yes.
No, I know friends of mine who. Sorry, this is digressing a bit. Who have their phone locked so that if they need to give it to their wife, that they can unlock the text and they can unlock this.
Yes.
And they can unlock that part of it.
Yes,
and stuff.
exactly.
But
So
just
like the phone is open, but like some apps are
definitely locked. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So it may look,
Don't worry, she's not married. That's why.
Oh my god!
Don't worry. She'll learn.
marriage bias.
Yeah, she'll learn.
How did we fix that into this right now?
It's really freaky. I had a friend of mine who this happened to him. Somebody was dating, got somebody to hack into the social, not even his own, so somebody else's social media accounts. And I use that to track sort of activity. Activity.
Yeah, so
it was like
it's not as difficult as you think. Trust me, like
I'm gonna look it.
Like sometimes because my friends call me FBI because I'm like, if you want to just talk to someone, all you have to just give me a name. No, so it's not even like a technical like like.
Oh no, it's basic.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
basic.
just so once you have like this is where you work and this is where you stay and go through Twitter and can see like additional information that would like so all of that together it just gives you an idea of who
so
the
does
person
it?
Is.
Are you on social? Are you active on social then?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
Well, not active on like maybe the picture sharing platform like Instagram, but I'm active on Twitter.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I can't help it.
Okay, so say for women out there that wants to go into tech, I know you mentioned that there has to be the passion, you shouldn't let money drive you, but I feel like I would want to see, are there any other exciting things happening in tech that wants to draw me to it? So yeah, are there any exciting things happening in tech that would want to make women be a part of it?
Yes, honestly, tech is very exciting. Like I always say that I'm like
No, say that again. Just sell it. I'm sorry. Tech.
Confirmation.
Yeah, it's
very
like,
exciting.
Really. Yes.
It is honestly like yes, the job can be very demanding, but it's genuinely exciting. So I think for women that want to come into tech, there's many platforms that encourage women to join. I know of a cohort program, Cyber Girls, that encourages like young girls can apply to
join
like,
tech.
Basic understanding of tech and just to give you like some sort of foundation.
Yeah.
I know Alt School as well is another one. I know GRC Africa is more recent. That one was started by most part of that one. So basically, I think it's just in the case of sometimes people always like, oh, where do I start from?
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't start if you don't really know what it's even about. So just get like an idea of all of these things. You can go through like maybe YouTube and just say. So if you see the one that speaks more to you, and what you want to do and what you think you can do, then you can just pursue that like fervently.
So getting to where you are right now currently, did you have any role model that you looked up to, or are there role models people can look up to get inspiration? Oh, I need to be like that auntie there. My fellow Texas.
Yes.
I'm looking up to her. Are there role models you had? Are there role models people can look up to get to tech?
Yeah. So when I was growing up, I didn't have role models. I don't know if this is bad, but because they were not, maybe they were women, but social media then wasn't very
as big as it is.
You get so
currently.
like we didn't get to see these people and maybe interact with these people.
Them. Yeah.
So when I was younger, no, but I think right now there are so many role models for women, especially.
I think I would like for you to name a few.
Okay, yes. Oh, definitely. So we have Ireti Oluwa Akerele.
Ireti Oluwa Akerele.
Yes. I feel like anyone that is interested, like vaguely interested, should know about her.
Okay.
We have Confidence Stavely. Confidence Stavely is the founder of Cyber Girls as well.
Okay.
Yes. Ireti Oluwa also has Black, which is a cohort program for
Yes,
for Black people that are interested. So those are the two that I know of off my head, but I know there are so many more
others.
Yeah, so you can just go just do a LinkedIn search and maybe for a particular field.
All right.
Yeah, you can just find them on LinkedIn.
What are you most excited about for the future of tech?
I'm excited for a lot of things. I'm excited for AI. I know it seems very problematic.
There's that. last was it some days ago? I saw that Apple was also making their own GPT.
Yes.
There's also Twitter too, and I'm like, God, everywhere you go, like MTN, but
technological advancement that I see is, regardless of how we feel about it, it's still going to happen. So
yeah, definitely,
you can't avoid it. So what we just do is just prepare for it.
Right.
Like, yeah. So like whether or not we want AI to happen, it's going to happen. Like,
it's here to stay.
It's here
He ain't
to stay,
going back.
exactly.
He ain't going back.
So, but I think we should just change our mindset around it, because we're looking at AI as our replacements.
Wanna thief my job?
You're coming to take my job. You're coming
Yes.
to, but you can look at them as like people that enable us to also do,
to work smart, work better.
Of course, there are going to be negatives. Like,
of course, there's always a positive and negative side to
yes,
things,
definitely.
really.
But it's just a case of enhancing the positive and trying to minimize the negative.
Yeah, depends on what you're using it for too, as well.
True.
So,
are you already seeing the impact in your field?
Oh yes, definitely. I use ChatGPT like every day. Okay. Definitely, like, so that's the thing. Like, impact is it may be very small, but it's very mighty. Yeah. So
do you use just ChatGPT?
Right now, I've been seeing like this photo editing app that sort of does like a corporate headshot of you.
Yeah,
I've not tried that one because I'm like,
I know there's Google Bard. Yeah. I like that one. I use it too. I like
haven't
the
tried
whole.
that.
I should. Yeah. I should.
I'll check that out. But I think the one I'm more familiar with now
is ChatGPT.
Yeah, because I interact with like all the time.
Did you hear? Go on after you.
All right. If you were to go back to your younger self as a kid, what career advice would you give yourself as regards to tech? So other people out there can learn from.
Yeah. Okay. So I think for me, the career advice I would give myself regards to tech is that you should do the work. Right. This sounds very vague and but people are always looking for like a shortcut, like
Feels like a straight target to Gen Z's, but I'm just gonna.
No, so that's the thing. Like, the work now, it's not even probably going to be the same work that we did in our own time. But in terms of like doing the work, like that, okay, if I do A, B, and C, this is what it takes me to get to where I want to get to. I know I saw this on social media. Someone asked that, she wanted to do a PhD program at a later age, and then but like she was scared that like for 7 years it's going to take a long time. And someone said like, 7 years is still going to be 7 years. Do you want to be a doctor in 7 years, or you still want to be yourself in 7 years? That time is still going to come. Yeah. Right. So so just don't look at it as like steps you have to take. Just look at it as like, okay, if this is what I need to get to where I want to go, and this is what I need to
do.
Yeah, because I've met a lot of young people that are like Gen Zs. Yeah. I love them, honestly. They're amazing. I love it. They're very visible. They're very bold. They're very, they ask for what they want. And I'm like, I wish I had that.
Yeah, they're looking at no. Don't worry. I'm not saying anything.
He was gonna say something.
I'm not saying anything.
I was hearing it.
I'm not saying anything.
I was hearing it.
No, I think no, because I'm definitely not a. No, yeah.
I feel
what did they say? I plead the fifth.
Entrepreneurs have a very different experience.
He does. He does.
No, I mean, would you call it? No, I want to be able to walk down the street safe. So I'll just shut up. I want to be able to. There are people, my pictures out there. You never know. So
just to get screenshots.
Exactly. Let me just. Gen Zs are fantastic. They're amazing.
No, of course. I'm sure there are going to be some character traits that are not like but in terms of like going for what you want, be visible.
Yeah, that daring.
Yes, be very daring. Like, ask. Like, don't assume an answer when you haven't even asked. Like, you have someone you look up to. Reach out to them and tell them, I am these are my interests, and I would like to, further my career, and I would like to do this. So just reach out, and you'll be surprised, at how willing they are to help. So I think that's what it is.
All right.
We've talked. Sorry, I'm gonna go take you back a bit because you talked about the role models that exist, and I want to just because we've talked about whether, and obviously the focus was on women in tech. So a couple of questions. So do you still think it's an issue? Do you still, because you mentioned that, there's now so-and-so, there's so-and-so and so-and-so. Do you still think it's an issue? Or as in, are women now in tech? And is it like, okay, hey, guys, let's move on? Or do you think that, listen, look, guys, don't be fooled. Those are just the outliers and there's a few of them. There is still a huge issue about getting women in tech. How do you feel?
So I think that, yes, it's still an issue, but for, the bigger part is an issue that, is being addressed, even up to this very moment, right? And right now, yes. And I think a big part of it is also social media, because girls are seeing, women, making it, and you can see all these women like doing things that, I'm sure you thought, it's probably not possible, especially in this country. But thankfully, with the, rise of social media, you can see people that you can look up to, even careers that people didn't even know were, possible. You see them like, okay, this is something I think I would be good at. So,
No, I heard about, talking about careers, I heard about prompt engineer a few months ago. I was like, I had to go back and just go, not the person, going, I quickly Googled it and start figuring out what's that. So it's just changing.
There's so many careers, many, like, even one would think, is this really a career? But, it is. Like, once you just like research, you see that, this is actually things that, people are doing. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And there's a woman, do you ever get tired of the conversation? As in, like,
no, definitely not.
Right.
Because I'm living it.
Yeah.
So
living testament.
So really, I don't think I can, ever get tired, because it's like, we're having this conversation now, and then tomorrow something is going to happen. It's like, okay, this is why we're here.
Yeah, like somebody the guy you mentioned on Twitter was saying,
I thought we're past that. Like, people still have, the mindset that, women shouldn't do tech in this day and age, and it's sad, but it's true. So can't get tired of it.
Okay, all right. We have a reputation as a nation, 419, Yahoo boys. And I was really, and I've been telling one of the things, and I wanted to try and do on this podcast was to get a Yahoo boy on, or Yahoo person onto it, just to understand it, because I really am curious as to it. Is there, from your, why is that perception? Is it that we are, let's be honest, just smart? Okay, so that we are just, better at this stuff, so that, and unfortunately it's just that economy is bad, so people try and find other ways around it. Are we smart, or why? What is it about the system that lends itself to that? I don't know if that's too wide a question, as in why is it possible?
Why is it prevalent? Like,
any thoughts as a cybersecurity person?
Yes, Nigerians are very smart.
Okay,
like that's why you go outside and we excel in every field that there is to excel at. So we're very smart people. So obviously, like when you identify that, this is an avenue where I can make money and I can do this and I can do that, and you go into it and just like every other thing, we become the best at it. Really. So I think with 419 now, it's like it evolves. That's the thing. Like, the way technology is evolving is the same way like other things are evolving as well. 419 of like maybe 10 years ago is not what 419 now. What it is now. It's
has
like
upgraded.
It has upgraded, and like it's a whole network.
Yeah.
Of people. It's not just like one person in their room just typing away at their computer. Like, it's a network. You need to have the skills. So in a way, 419 people are like tech bros. Like,
because that was it.
They actually learn from themselves.
Yeah, no, because I was.
No, they have like institution itself. Yeah, what they teach them, like the way we have like
Yahoo boys.
Yep, they do. They have to learn. So the same way we have programs teaching people, how to go into like, we have institutions for Yahoo as well, like how to get started. So,
I remember back when I was in school, I know that we used to have guys that they would stay in one room and then this one teaches this one, this one. But I didn't know that they've upgraded.
They've upgraded.
Wow.
They have. So you have like institutions now. So as you're learning the technology, they're learning alongside you. You get it's a case of trying to catch up with.
You have to keep up.
Exactly. So that's the thing. So you see kids who are learning, they're learning. right? So they're very smart. They're not just, random people that happen to be like, there's a network of them, obviously. You have more technical people, you have people that deal with people that make the phone calls, So just like every other job there's different, specialties.
And how do you guard against them? I mean, by bringing it back to the cybersecurity, how do you, is it ethical hackers, or is it how do you educate your people internally?
Yeah. So I think personally for me, like, you can never be too safe. That's the thing. Like, honestly, just have the mindset of there is no point to reach where it's like, okay, I'm 100% secure, because I feel like that's when they come for you. Okay. You can never be too safe. You can always, whatever it is you think you need to do to, safeguard yourself in terms of, like, I know some people that don't pick numbers that are not saved. That's, their own. Yes, it may have repercussions, but that's what you do. Like, I don't pick numbers that I don't have saved.
You should just have this thing now. What do they call it? That will tell you.
Truecaller, right?
Yeah, they'll tell you who's calling.
No, but like with Truecaller, would they write Yahoo Boy there?
Exactly. And even then, the numbers that come through that's unidentified, and you call, you check it and go, this number has not been assigned, and you go, telco, you're not supposed to give anybody without having their BVN and all that kind of stuff. Yes. But you know it. And what do you call it? We even had, and this wasn't even how do I put it? This one I got was from a phone call from a number that was outside the country, that was meant to be outside the country. And what they were doing
that all the time.
Yeah, that was meant to be outside the country, and that was it. And that's what I'm sort of thinking, well, how did they get my number in the first place and all that kind of stuff? But yeah, it's such a challenge trying to stay current and just to be careful.
Yeah, keep up with the trends.
That like I have friends who refuse to do internet banking.
Yes.
Online banking.
True, I have friends that they don't have any, like, they would physically go. Yes.
What?
They don't have apps on their phone.
What?
Yeah. No, I have a guy who has this. It says it that he has. It's one of those Nokia things. That's the phone he uses. That he has another one, which is his smartphone for what do you call it? But every single thing else he transacts on, is on the Nokia one because of the fact it's not a smartphone.
Same. I have relatives that's like that too. He just uses like the touchlight phone for anything with regards to where his money is, and then the other one for social.
But it's not as if it's hard to target those kind of people too, because if they want to come for you, they come for you.
That's the thing, but make it difficult for them.
Okay,
that's what it is.
Okay. Chase.
So like when they try 1, 2, 3, it doesn't work, they'll most likely back down. Yeah. Right. So it won't be easy for them to, because most times let's just go and pick target A that is going to make things easier for us. So that's just also I've addressed the social media. Just try to keep up with trends. Social media too will help you with that, because someone say, oh, this is what it is. I got a phone call. Now. Yes, I got a phone call from here. I got this one. I have a friend. This person has actually been persistent. Someone has been calling him for the past 2 weeks and saying, oh, I'm your sister's husband. Like, he blocked the number. Person called your number. I'm like, they're becoming persistent. So, and he's like, why don't you just tell me your name? Sister's husband doesn't have a name. So he's calling her like, oh, I'm your sister's husband. So,
I think I saw something on IG too that I can't remember the name that was used, but he messaged the woman that I'm your brother's. I'm your. She just said it was someone to her, and she was like, "Hey, is this you? Isn't it you that died like 2 weeks ago that we did your burial?" And it was just so funny, because how do you want to explain? Explain yourself.
Yes. Exactly.
It's nice, funny.
So it's always situations like that. It's like. So always make sure you have if it's maybe situations that are like. You have the option of having like maybe different factor authentication.
How do you keep up with those? My issue with that is, how do you get to remember them?
That's the work you have to do. So this thing is, right, just have a process that works for you, right? So I know some people that their passwords are similar, but they always change one factor, like for all them. So it's not necessarily having like totally different passwords, but having a system of passwording that works for you. I have people that have like one particular password system for socials, one particular password system for company, so even if they access one thing, it will also be difficult to access the second thing.
It's hard work. No, it's hard. It's hard work.
No, but so it's not as, it sounds very complicated.
Well,
once you have it, once you establish the system.
Exactly. No, but the security. I mean, you understand it, which is this is it's what you stand to lose versus
the stress you have to go through.
A bit of work.
Well, it's been an interesting session, really. I always try not to collect basketballs from Tolu every episode, but I think Tolu cannot help it. He cannot.
My
but
job.
still,
And he's doing well.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to wear a thick coat when next, so that this has to end. It really has to. So we've come to the end of this episode. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. It's been lovely to have you.
Thank you.
And yeah, back to our social media pages. DBA_podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And we hope you enjoyed this session because we did. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. I had fun.
Good.
We did.